Hi, it's Maya here with my June and July reads and receipts. In these videos I go through what I've read, my TB account and how I'm doing with my reading challenges, and there will always be timestamps in the description for all the books that I'm talking about. This is actually the first time that I filmed since August. The previous two videos you've seen on this channel were filmed in August and I only now had the time to edit them, so I might be a bit rusty. I have moved in the meantime again and been busy at work and everything. But let's start with the reads. My TB account at the start of the month was 58 books. I read A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. This is another of Kingfisher's horror novels, but this one isn't inspired by or based on any classic horror story. She usually states her inspirations in the afterword, but this one seems to be all original. The main character Sam is an entomologist in archaeology, which is interesting, and her most recent dig is cancelled, so she goes to live for a while with her mother, and something strange is going on with her mother and the house where she lives, which used to belong to Sam's grandmother, and there's a lot to unpack there. I like that the main character was an entomologist. We got some interesting bug facts in this story, but I was missing the atmosphere. I didn't feel like it was scary or eerie or suspenseful at pretty much any point. The first half of The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher is my favorite in that regard, but I haven't really been super into her horror novels, even though I did enjoy her horror novella, What Moves the Dead. That one I really liked. I've said it once and I'll say it again that I really prefer T. Kingfisher's fairy tale fantasy, and I still have Thornheads left to read actually. But reading this brings my TB account to 57 books. Next I bought and read Delicious in Dungeon Volume 12 by Ryoko Kui, and I also reread Volume 11. This is a high fantasy manga series about a group of adventurers in a monster-filled dungeon, and it just keeps ramping up. I love all the characters, and at this point there are a lot of them. The story beats are always very well done, whether they are funny or dramatic, and I got a feeling the series is gonna end soon. I can't wait for the next volume, but it is translated into English. It comes out in March next year, so I have a long time to wait. But in the meantime, we will get the anime adaptation, which comes to Netflix, I think, in January. So I hope it doesn't have the whole story in case this has already ended in Japan. I don't know. I hope that it has what I've read up to now, so I can watch the whole season while I wait for the next volume. But since I bought this and read this, my TBR stays at 57 books. Next, I read an owned historical fantasy romance ebook, and that is The Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation Volume 5 by Mo Xiang Tongxiu. And I finally finished the web novel after watching the Untamed TV series adaptation and loving that a couple of years ago. I finally finished this. I've enjoyed learning some of the backstory and the information that the TV series either changed or left out. So this story tells about the reincarnated necromancer or demonic cultivator, the impulsive Wei Wuxian, and the stoic paragon of justice Lang Wangqi. It's going through two storylines. There's a present storyline where the two are solving this mystery featuring these malevolent spirit body parts, and then there's also the backstory of the two behind Wei Wuxian's reincarnation, how the two met and came to be what they are. This final book in the series had extra stories at the end, and like I suspected, I didn't really like the extra stories. I said earlier that I would have preferred for the main story to be concluded in the 4 volumes and then have the 5th extra volume just be the extra stories, because there wasn't that much of the main story in this final volume, and that way I wouldn't have had to buy the extra stories because I wasn't really that interested in them. There are sex scenes in this volume, and I found many of them to be uncomfortable and violent, and most of them were in the extras. There were also other stuff in the extras, but nothing that interesting to me. I did like Yunmeng, which was the main character spending a nice day out in town. I really liked that one. Then I also read a couple of library books. I read episode 13 by Greg D. Louis, which is this found footage horror novel about this ghost hunting TV crew. I talk about this more in my media book tag. It was too long and not as good as I expected, but I did enjoy some of the video transcript parts. Those were fun. If you want to hear more, watch that book tag video. I also continue 2 manga series which I've talked about a lot in this channel, so I'm not gonna go really into them. I read volumes 14 and 15 of Dorohedoro by Kyu Hayashida. This is a horror fantasy manga. The library seems to have lost the next volume, volume 16, so I don't know when I can continue this. Then I read volumes 2 to 5 of 20th Century Boys by Naoki Urasawa. This series of a group of friends fighting this mysterious cult continues to be very mysterious and also very good. So that was all I read. Now let's move on to the receipts. Did I finish the series for my Finish 5 series challenge? Yes, I finished the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, so I finished one series this year. I did worse with my buzzword reading challenge. I did not read a book with the word other in the title, nor books with weather-related words in the title. As to the books that I bought, apart from Delicious in Dungeon Volume 12, I downloaded the free classic ebook of The Wind in the Rosebush and Other Stories of the Supernatural by Mary Eleanor Wilkins Freeman. I got this for the other buzzword reading challenge prompt, and then I promptly forgot about it. I also bought a humble bundle of books. I bought the Valdemar Humble Bundle by Mercedes Lackey, which was 37 books. So there goes my plan of reading all the books that I buy this year. This is like this classic fantasy series, and it's like continuing even nowadays, so it's very long. I also bought the ebook of the novella Seems Like Murder by Tilly Wallace, which is like this murder mystery novella that is set in 1920s New Zealand. Finally, I bought the physical book. I bought Silver Nitrate by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is her latest thriller, or I think horror book. Buying this brings my TBR back to 58 books. Finally, some stats. In June, I read 7 books, which was 1,827 pages. And in July, I read 5 books, which was 1,315 pages. And since June was the end of the quarter, I also have some other stats. So from April to June, I read 26 books, of which 42% were library books, and 23% were rereads, 19% were books from my physical shelf, and 12% were books that I purchased this year. And then also 4%, so one ebook, was an ebook that I bought before 2023. Since I read this and bought this, my current physical TBR number is 58 books. So I made no progress in any direction, but at least the number didn't go up, hey? I still have a lot of reads and receipts catching up to do, but that's all from me for now, and I'll see you in my next video.